Hi, it's Olga Zarr. So today I want to show you my favorite SEO tool, which is of course JetOctopus. I want to show you how you can use it to analyze canonical tags on the website. Canonical links are basically what allows you to define whether a given page is the main content, the main version of a content, or whether there is a different page which is the main content, which should be like chose as the main version, and all the signals should be like canonicalized to that page. So this is an advanced technical SEO tool for SEOs mainly. And JetOctopus allows you to quickly take a look at all the canonicals you have on the site and whether there are some issues with them. Because sometimes if you have canonicals wrongly set up, where, for example, all the important pages all canonicalize to one page, a random page, then you may run into indexation issues, ranking issues. I once had a site, someone like gave me the site for review and to find out why it's not ranking for basically anything. And the issue this site had was all the pages, internal pages it had, all of them had canonical tag pointed to the homepage. So this was like an unfortunate technical SEO error. So here's what you need to do. Let's get started. So you basically go to JetOctopus, you open the last crawl, you go to crawler and then indexation. This is the section that allows you to kind of see if you have indexation problems. There is canonicals, the entire section just devoted to canonical links, canonical tags on the site. A lot of useful information here. So first, pages with rel canonical. So you can see how many pages out of all the pages on your site actually have rel canonical, because depending on the CMS, sometimes some CMSs, like I think WordPress in most cases, add self-referencing canonical by default unless you change it. Some CMSs do not add it, so it's not uncommon to see a site that has no canonical tags at all. Here I can see that there are 87 canonical pages with canonical tag on my website. There are also 2 pagination pages, and here are pagination pages. So this is extra information for you. If you have pagination pages, sometimes they may run into indexation problems. Sometimes you don't want them indexed. Sometimes you don't want them crawl. Sometimes you do. In many cases, you do. Sometimes they are canonicalized to the first page, which may cause issues. And here you have the information of about how many paginated pages there are. I have a special video about just the pagination and how pagination can be analyzed with JetOctopus. So I invite you to check that. Here is also the information about pages with hreflang, which is again something that can influence indexability, which can also be confusing if you have the canonical tag pointed to the wrong page. So this is important. Canonical structure. So here is a very useful chart that simply shows you the information that you can see here. So how many pages have no canonical tag? How many have the self-referencing canonical, and how many have the canonical that points to a different page? And here again, canonical structure with a different type of chart by depth, by segments, and canonical evaluation. So how many pages are non-canonical because they have a canonical tag pointing to something else, and how many pages are canonicalized, which means the pages to which other pages point to as the main version. Important thing to note is that Google treats canonical tag now just as a hint. So the fact that you set something as canonical may not necessarily mean that Google treats it this way. So that's just something to be aware of. So canonicals kind of overview, very useful, especially for huge sites, huge e-commerce sites where things can easily get messed up, or canonicals may not be set up properly if we deal with some, for example, URLs with filters which do not vary a lot. In some cases, you want different variations of a product to be indexed, in others, you don't. So this is when it becomes very, very useful. So here, pages with canonical tag. So this is basically the report that shows you all the pages that have canonical tag. So you have the URL, you have the title, status code, whether this is like 200, maybe there is a different status code, whether it's indexable, and what's the canonical URL, and whether the canonical target is indexable. This is also quite important because sometimes something very recent I saw, there was a URL which has been redirected to a different one. And this different one was still pointing through a canonical tag to this one that was redirected. So basically, the canonical was redirecting, and this was very confusing to Google. So you need to make sure that the canonical tag is actually indexable, reachable, returns for 200, can be indexed. So that's for your technical review. So you don't need to be a super canonical expert. You just need to fire up this report, look at what you see here, and you can, in most cases, pretty easily view any problems. Okay, so pages with canonical tag, this is where you can apply some custom filtering to see even more. There are tons of things. You can join data sets, you can add filters, like as you can see, the sky is the limit on how many things you can actually like filter and see here, like page URL, what it contains, what it doesn't contain. Regarding that canonical tag, whether it is indexable or it is self-canonical, redirects, like everything on earth. Super useful, and I strongly recommend you play with that. So that's all for this video. I hope it was helpful. Let me know what you think. If you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up, share it with others, leave a comment, subscribe to me on YouTube. You can also subscribe to my SEO newsletter and just help me build my channel. This is a relatively new channel. Everything I do for free for you to be able to learn from like 10 plus years of experience in SEO I have. So that's all, and thank you, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.